So welcome to my video on how to increase sales in a small business and how to keep it simple. So before I get into the sales process in detail, a quick look at marketing versus sales. Marketing to me is basically educating an audience about what's possible and looking for trends in that audience. So maybe you look for trends and goals over time, the way the market is shifting, kind of how you maybe be able to serve that. You're educating people, maybe through newsletters or videos like YouTube, webinars, meeting people in different events, when you're basically making people aware of what is possible and kind of what you do. No sale yet, but they get educated on the options. And then figuring out what their interests are, and then maybe you then adapting to that interest. So if you're hearing a bunch of people request ABC service or DEF product, and you don't do that, then your marketing is basically giving you data or feedback to know where to go focused next time. Now we're going to discuss sales in this video here, and that is getting revenue from solving a customer's problem or meeting a need. So that's the focus of today. So here are the 5 steps I go through to make a sale. I think the key thing is to keep them simple, and secondly, plan for them. Assume you have to plan for the events to take place to get the sale. Request comes in, could be a phone call or an email. When I get a request in for my kind of stuff, typically services, then I assume the request is ambiguous. I assume that the request is missing information and details, and if I were to then just give a proposal with my understanding for the request, which is what I used to do in the years past, then typically I'm feeling good about the proposal, but the customer's looking at it thinking, I have no idea why I'd want to do this. And so I did not do great at the beginning of our kind of a company here for doing sales. This is going to over 30 years ago. So what I've learned over the years is that whatever the request is, I assume there's some ambiguity and missing stuff, and I need to kind of meet with the client and figure out what the missing stuff actually is. Because if I don't, then I can't do a good proposal, and I may do an inaccurate proposal, and then I don't make the sale. Now, if you're in a product business and you're selling a product, and the request comes in for ABC product, and you know you have it, and they want it, and they, there's no ambiguity, then yeah, ship them the product and you're fine. But if there's any kind of variation, how many they want, where they want them delivered, how they want them packaged, what color they want, whether they want 15, 20 or one of them, or they want kind of later or soon, whatever. If there's any variation, then I think you want to do the meeting activity to clarify the details. A, to listen to kind of what their need is, and B, to be able to propose or sell exactly to kind of that need. So we'll discuss the meeting in a couple of seconds. Then we go through proposaling. I'll discuss the essence of what I would do there too. And then in the proposal, I actually put another meeting option. So I may need to meet with them again to close the sale because they have questions and concerns. Or I put a meeting in there to say, okay, you're going to use me now for the service, but to help your colleagues out, your managers, your big bosses, your people you work with, I'll put a free meeting in there to kind of clarify issues and concerns and questions and how to get started. So actually there may be a second meeting to kind of really going to secure the sale in the cycle. And then if I win, there's an agreement. And then if I don't win, there's feedback again. I request feedback. Actually, if I do win and I get a chance, I ask for feedback too. But if I lose, then I ask for feedback. So we'll go through these kind of 5 steps. So this meeting in the beginning could be by phone or kind of in person or by video. I would not use email for that because you're losing the details. I would make a connection of some kind with the prospect, kind of in person or by video or by phone. And so the idea is to basically figure out, they asked for this thing, but it's ambiguous, or you believe it's ambiguous, or there are ambiguities which you see, or there's missing information, or they kind of use terms that you don't understand yet, then I would say use that meeting to really clarify. So the meeting also allows you to figure out what's important. Maybe in your head you think cost is important, but actually to them, they don't care. They really don't care. Now, what you think is a big amount of money, they think is a small amount of money. Okay, but you don't know that until you ask them. Or they care about deadline, or they care about breaking up the solution into pieces to be delivered, or they care about color, or they care about packaging, or they care about the way you're going to service the thing at the end. You don't really know what they care about until you understand from them and going to do the meeting. So you can also explain to them what needs you can help with and which ones you kind of can't. Okay? Part of your credibility building is to be honest about what you can and cannot do. If they ask for ABC and you can do that, you say, I can do that, I'm an expert. Okay. If they ask for DEF and you say, well, I do D, but I don't really going to do E and F, but I know people that are going to do that very well. And so you're building credibility by explaining kind of what you do and don't do, if that kind of comes up in the question, in the discussion. And you're building credibility by being bluntly honest about kind of what you do well and kind of what you don't. They can now trust you, they kind of believe you in kind of how you answer the questions. You can discuss the options. Maybe you have options in mind, but you want to kind of detail those with them verbally. You can put them in a proposal later on, but you want to figure out, is option A better for you, option B, or do you like option C? Maybe it's a timing issue, or the way it's packaged or delivered, or the color, or the size, or the magnitude, or the volume, or whatever. You can then verbalize some of the options and see kind of where they are interested in. Make detailed notes yourself so you know what to refer back to. And then when you get to the proposing bit, you have much better data to kind of put in there. Also, by meeting, you're going to determining any reservations they have. Maybe they're concerned about your background in terms of years of experience, or they're concerned about your location or your time zone, or the way you ship things, or the way you are going to build things or make them interface to the outside world. Okay? And so, if they have concerns about something, you understand now what those concerns are that could have killed the sale, and you may better address those correctly and say, well, I do it the FGH way, and had you any idea that how beneficial that is? Okay? So there are companies that I work with, or people that buy from me, and they've been told by their competitors, you've got to buy ABC. ABC is the only way. And they said to Neil, do you do ABC? I said, no, I don't do ABC. I could. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it because, whatever the reasons are. I actually do the DEF approach because that gives you more buy-in and more ownership and more whatever and more control. And so they may be reading a magazine or an article or a website or something and getting kind of skewed one particular direction, and that's their concern, which you had no idea about until you met with them. And when you understand what their concern is, you can kind of highlight the way you do something and how much better that actually is, okay? If it's truly actually better. And so you don't really know any of this information until you're going to meet with them and kind of chat about their issues. Now in the proposing section, I use a Word document to do that because it's the way I live. There are tables in the Word document I can do modifications and calculations with, and then I save as a PDF to them, but you can figure out your way to propose. In there, if I promised information, I put it in there. I may have promised an article or a link to a YouTube video or a comparison of something. If I promise something, I put a link in there or kind of whatever the request is. I always include a complimentary meeting number 2, this one here, meeting number 2. And so if they are going to buy from me, that's a free meeting to kind of work with their colleagues and their company and whatever to kind of get started for free. It's typically 1 or 2 hour meeting by video. And so they may have concerns or questions, or they may be excited or want to start or whatever. If they have not bought from me at that point, then I put in the proposal, you could use meeting number 2 to kind of clarify concerns and questions with your big boss and customers and whatever. And so, if you were not sure about things yet, then meeting number 2 is there for you to now clarify again, and maybe with a bigger group of people. So I always offer a free meeting number 2 in there, whether they're purchased or not, to kind of get started with. Then I add options with prices. I think a key part of sales is to provide options. I typically have 3 or 4 options in there. If they want the option that's $100, okay, I give them the option that's $50, okay, or half the price, or 2/3 of the price, okay, a bit cheaper than they asked for. Option number 1. Then I have option number 2, the one they asked for. I have option number 3, more than they asked for, the kind of semi-deluxe version. And then I have option number 4, maybe the super deluxe version. Okay? So they can pick whichever one they want. They're all credible and achievable, but they may look at it and think, we want to save money this month, so they go with the cheaper one. Okay? And they can appreciate having a cheaper option. They may have a budget and they go with the one they wanted. Or they may have found money from somebody, or somebody wants to join their forces in the company and add money to the budget, and therefore they go with the more deluxe one. And so it gives them a choice that's credible, but typically people go with the higher volume or higher cost option because they're going to like it. They're like, oh, well, while we're doing it, we could go with the super deluxe or the deluxe version, because it's going to get it out of the way, or going to spend our money one time, whatever. And so I always put options in there so they can kind of pick and choose from that. Okay? And that really helps me kind of do the sale and typically kind of sell more. And then in my proposals, I put references. Typically, I pick out 3 or 4 companies that I've worked with, kind of like them in terms of scale or size or what they're doing. And I put the email address and the person's name and like a 1 sentence kind of who they are. I get their permission, of course, they're going to do that, but then I provide it. And I have a link to my testimonials. So if they want to see previous comments by previous clients, they can go do that. I actually say, if you want to speak to one of the testimonials, then let me know who it is. And if they're still alive and kicking and they are willing, I will then put you in touch with that person, because there could be a testimonial on the list that says, we used ABC tool, or we did ABC, and they like the idea of doing that. And so they want to speak to that customer about how they're going to do that thing. So if you have testimonials and references, then add them to the proposal. And then including videos, if I promised articles or comparisons to them, then I will put a link in the proposal or the email back to them. The company I'm referring to here is my other company. It's been going over for 3 decades now. You can go to their website. You'll see all kinds of stuff out there for years and years and years. And so when I'm selling that service, then I have a lot of data in there to refer to. And I will pick and choose from things out of there that are maybe interesting to them, and then provide a link to that particular thing so they can see that over time. Now, I think the purpose of giving references and the articles is to make you trustworthy and credible. Okay? They want to know you're a real person that knows some stuff. Okay? And so they don't know who you are, they don't know who I am, and therefore my links that I put together, my articles I write over the years, to give them a sense of, I know what I'm doing, I've done this before, I can give you the details, here's a free sample of it, and they can kind of check me out from that perspective. So let's discuss this meeting number 2 and kind of what happens there. Okay. So if the client has not purchased yet and they're kind of unsure what it's going to do, then the proposal will say there's a complimentary 1 to 2 hour meeting. You can have any time you want, just kind of schedule it. And you can bring your colleagues and your big bosses and the people you work with, if you have people to work with, and we can answer questions, we can discuss reservations and concerns, you can get them bought into the solution a little bit, and I can kind of work with them on the phone call or the video call. If you're concerned about pricing, I can then figure out what your needs are and maybe suggest a cheaper option if that's appropriate. You're concerned about dates or combinations or features or whatever of my service. I'm doing services, and I can discuss those because your colleagues have concerns and ideas, and I want to kind of listen to what those are. So there will be a free complimentary meeting number 2 in there. So if they have purchased already after the first meeting and proposal, then the proposal still gives them option to do meeting number 2. And meeting number 2 could be 1 or 2 hour freebie where they can get started. Maybe I'm available in a month's time to work with them, but they want to start right now. So I'll say, okay, you want to start right now? I'll give you 1 or 2 hours, okay, and we'll discuss what you can do to get started by yourself and going to make progress, okay. And then in a month's time when I'm available, we'll do the full service kind of session. So there's always a meeting number 2 offered to them. They typically take it either to finalize the decision or to get started if they've made a decision already. So let's discuss some style issues about how to sell. Not this one here, don't have a contract ready to sign before you've even met with them. This is awful, okay, terrible. I don't provide prices until I know the need, okay, because I don't know what the need is, and therefore I really can't figure out what the options are or the price. I used to have prices on my website a long time ago, and we often used to skip the meeting activity and provide a price, okay? And people would look at the price and think that's too big, and they go elsewhere, okay? And what I've learned is that if I can figure out what the need is, and I can work with them in the meetings to kind of clarify what the need is and make them happy with kind of my approach and my what I know about, then they see the price in comparison with the benefit, and therefore they see me as valuable now compared to the price, which is kind of high number. And so it looks far more beneficial to them than not knowing who I am and seeing a big price. So prices are the same, they don't vary a whole bunch, but when they see the value they're going to get by using me or my company for the service compared to the price, then it looks like a kind of a small price compared. If they don't know me and don't know my value or what I can do for them, then the price is going to look large compared to what they believe to be the benefit. Now, another important point I think of style of selling is to be the vendor you want to buy from. Be the ideal vendor. When I'm selling or working with the vendor, even if they're after the sale, I'm on their side 100%. I look out for their interests, which could be to make it cheaper or make it more effective or quicker or whatever. I'm never about me, I'm about them. And so whatever they want to do or however they want to do it, I will understand that, confirm with them, and do my best job to achieve that. So my proposal actually says, if we can find the cheaper way, we will. Here's a proposal. Now, ABC is going to be done for whatever the cost is. And it says, if we can find a cheaper way to do it as we go through the event, I will point it out to you and give you the option to do that. Maybe there's no travel required or travel required or whatever. And we'll point that out to them. I never advocate for me. I'm not there to sell more stuff. Now we have the options, but they're credible options they can pick and choose from. I'm not there to play games or sell more stuff or to hide things from them and kind of make them buy more stuff later on. To me, it's about efficiency, give them what they want for the highest value and the best value that they can get. And if there are ways to make it more efficient or overlap activities or whatever, I recommend those, and we're going to do them. So I think what the customer gets out of that is a true, credible supplier that has their interest at heart, and they can kind of trust over time. And the last style I would say is important is to be bluntly honest but diplomatic. Be nice, but never make up stuff. Or kind of fabricate stuff. So if I say they're going to buy XYZ service, I may say, well, when adopted, yes, it's going to take a few more hours at the beginning. It will slow down a little bit, but after 4 or 5 iterations, you'll be going faster. You'll get the time kind of back. So I'm not going to pretend the adoption of the service will not be a little bit of a learning curve at the beginning. If I was to say that, would be complete falsehood. But I'm going to say, it's only a couple of hours per day or per week to kind of learn it. And when you get good at it, after maybe 2 weeks, you won't even notice anymore. So I'll be bluntly honest about what they can and cannot do with it and what they're going to see. If they ask for ABC, I say, yes, I can do that, and I'm expert in that. If they ask for DEF, I say, well, I do D, I don't do E and F, but I know people that do that, and I'll put you in touch with those people. So basically, I never make stuff up, and I'm always on their kind of side throughout the whole journey. So the last step, if you get a win, I get an agreement. Now, you're not always going to win, but when you get a win, I get an agreement. It could be an email if it's going to have very small. It could be a one-page agreement form. I'll put a link to that down below in the video. But it's a very nicely written document, 1 page, typically not very big. That basically says we agreed to these things by this kind of date or this cost, whatever. And then they can pull down a menu at the very bottom of the Word document. It's going to have a Word form, and they can send it back to me and they agree. Now, sometimes you will win, sometimes you will lose. These steps here are to make it more likely you will win. There's no guarantee you're going to win, but you're making it more likely. Okay. If you don't win, or when I don't win, I ask for feedback. Okay. We never know for sure why we didn't win until we ask the question. It could have been pricing, it could have been availability, it could have been our company's too small, they want bigger companies, it could be because of our time zone, it could have been because of our location. Now we really have no idea why they chose somebody else. So I always ask the question, now for feedback. Half of the time I get it, half of the time I kind of don't. But when I get it, it's very useful to kind of know that. I'm going to feel better about why we lost. Okay? And if I do win, at some point in the cycle and the discussion, I will then ask them kind of why they chose us, and maybe it was because of pricing, maybe it was because of credibility or whatever. And so I will know what we are doing well by getting positive feedback off the client. So thank you for watching the video. Put any comments and questions down below. I'll be happy to get back with you. If you want to see more about what my company here does, go to Improving Your Small Business. There are articles up there, and videos also over time, adding more to the video channel. And then if you want to see what the other company is doing, the one I'm referring to or describing, which is the Process Group, I'll put a link to that kind of website down below. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.